Good afternoon. This is Michael O'Neill from the Informed Medical Options Party. The Informed Medical Options Party, we value truth, transparency and freedom as very, very high priorities for any government and for the value of our country. But we have found that this is not the case. In fact, a few weeks ago we put out a conflict of interest register in which we showed that organisations like the Immunisation Coalition have an affiliation with the AMA. The AMA gives, and the Immunisation Coalition give direct advice to the government, but that the Immunisation Coalition has direct ties to pharmaceutical. Basically, they're funded by pharmaceutical. So they're completely conflicted. They're absolutely conflicted. Their advice is of no value. But anyway, what we did, we exposed this. But what do you think's happened now? We've busted them. We've busted them big time. They are now trying to hide this. It's all being removed off their website. People are looking it up and they're finding out for themselves that this is true. We haven't said anything that's not true, and we've busted them where they're hiding it. They've removed these references. But the thing is that we actually have the original copies. We did our research over quite a long time. We wanted to make sure we were thoroughly correct. The current president of the AMA, Dr. Omar Khorsahid, he has said, I'm just reading it here, he says that vaccinating the whole population of Australia is the only way to survive it coming to our shores. This man is the head of an organisation that is absolutely conflicted with their involvement with the Immunisation Coalition, which is a mouthpiece for the pharmaceutical companies. This is just business. These guys don't care about health. They're not interested in your health or my health. They're interested in profit. Their shareholder profit, directors' bonuses. This is what they're interested in. This is what drives them on. They are a commercial company that develops a product. They design it, market it, and sell it for profit. It's not, the primary interest isn't in your health. And this has been a gold mine for them, this whole COVID. We expect that the government, at this point, they should disregard all advice from the AMA. The AMA should not be taken as a credible organisation anymore. We should never receive information that involves our decision-making parameters from a conflicted body. It always has to be honest, has to be in the best interest of Australians. We need to mop up the system. This Dr. Omar, he has to go. He needs to be sacked. And the government has to ignore all advice from the AMA. It's the only way to go. Yesterday, I was visiting an elderly auntie of mine. When I got there, her daughter was there, and she's usually at home by herself. And when I came in, she said, "Oh, Michael, did you hear about what happened?" I said, "No, what happened, Aunt?" She was lying up there in a lazy boy, and she said, "I've had a heart attack." And I said, "Really, Auntie? I wouldn't have thought you'd had a heart attack. You're very healthy." She said, "No, I had a heart attack." I said, "What happened?" She says, "I had the COVID vaccine. And then a few days later, I had a heart attack." And she says, "I've been in intensive care." I said, "Really? Really?" And she said, "I will never take the second one." And her daughter was sitting and says, "Well, I'm not even going to take it at all now." She said, "But we came under a lot of pressure." I said, "What do the doctors say?" They said, "Well, it's got nothing to do with the vaccine. This will not be registered as a vaccine injury." But it is. She's alive. They gave her days to live, but she's now lived a few weeks and she's on the mend. My goodness, this is a terrible state of affairs. This is someone I know. I'm hearing about this all the time. People are contacting us. This is far bigger than we could ever imagine. I am sure. I am absolutely sure. My wife called me from the USA, where she's now currently in residence. She ran into a nurse practitioner. Apparently a nurse practitioner in the USA is higher than a nurse and lower than a doctor. It's somewhere in between. And she said in the hospital they were working in, they were finding that they were getting all these positives, like all positives. Everyone was coming back positive from the testing station. They thought, wow, they're all well. But, it's boosting the numbers. They're getting, massive high rates of COVID infection. So what they decided to do, they decided, let's send a swab off to be tested. We won't put it in anyone. They just opened it, put it in, put a false name and sent it away. Came back positive. She said, we're aghast. All of us in the hospital are just like, whoa, what happened here? and they were told, you have to be quiet about this. We don't talk about it. You value your job? We can't talk about this. This is not the way it should be done in a free, democratic and honest, open society. We've exposed the conflicts of interest. We believe that there is a great corruption and dishonesty being foisted on the Australian people, on pretty much all governments around the world. By governments onto their people around the world. But at the Informed Medical Options Party, we want nothing to do with it. We will oppose it. We think it's wrong. It's dishonest in the extreme. And we value honesty and we value transparency. Everything should be transparent. So today, I'm coming to you with this little bit of tidbit of news, but the good news is that they must be running scared. They've gone on starting to hide things. They're just deepening themselves. They're not... There's no contrition there. There's no rectifying of their problem. The government's not saying, oh dear me, we've got a conflict of interest group that we're taking advice from. No, not at all. No, they're just deepening themselves into the muck that they're in. That's a disgrace. At the Informed Medical Options Party, we are on your side. We are going to be fighting for you. We need help. This Sunday, the 29th of June, all over Australia, there are freedom marches, the Millions March. I recommend that everyone that's listening to this, every able-bodied, go to it. Go there, take a stand, walk in the street, raise your voice. You don't have to say too much, mix with other like-minded people. We have to show the government we're not putting up with this rubbish. They will understand numbers, hopefully. The media will ignore it. We've seen this every time. Doesn't matter if we get thousands of people there, they will ignore it. But nevertheless, we'll go there. Let your voice be heard. Thank you very much. I wish you all a good afternoon. From Michael O'Neill from the Informed Medical Options Party.